Guys, we figured out your winners for Disney, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon, and now it's time for streaming.
We've tallied all your votes, and now it's time to see who the winner is. I'm Whitney Van Lanningham.
And I'm Chris Carr, and this is your best cartoon of the decade,
Wildcard Streaming Conference! Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our super nerd sponsor of the day, John Carmack. Thanks to badasses like John, we're able to keep the lights on another day. If you want to help support us too, just click the link in the description box and see if one of our donation tiers work for you. Now on to the conference! So this tournament bracket is a little different from our prior three, with it being more of a catch-all for the shows we couldn't fit into the traditional televised animation network categories. That said, this decade brought about the rise of streaming, which has become so ubiquitous that it soon will swallow cable television into its distribution model.
Because this category is so wide, we'll try to mention as many shows that we can. But let us know which sleeper hit we missed in the comments section.
It doesn't help that all these streaming networks had a lot to prove this decade and brought out some of the best contenders for us to call into the top 8 contenders.
Let's start with Netflix, because not only did it spearhead streaming, but it went hard on the animation market.
In 2014, Netflix premiered its first animated original series, BoJack Horseman.
And over the next few years, it would give us F is for Family and Voltron, Legendary Defender.
Jaden Smith got his own anime in Neo Yokio, and before we knew it, there was Big Mouth, Disenchantment, Tuca and Birdie, and the CG series Troll Hunters Tales of Arcadia, and its sequel 3 Below.
Other releases include the criminally underrated Cupcake and Dino General Services, Pinky Malinky, Hilda, and the Dragon Prince from one of the Avatar Last Airbender creators.
Netflix also got a shot at redefining classic properties like Carmen Sandiego, She-Ra, and Green Eggs and Ham.
Surprisingly, Netflix's longest-standing competitor, Hulu, only put up one notable animated series in Seth Meyers' The Awesomes. Amazon Prime TV, however, has started building its own cartoon catalog with Nico and the Sword of Light, Costume Quest, and a 2018 reboot of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Apart from their slate of content skewing to a younger audience, like their CG Wizard of Oz show, was the rotoscoped masterpiece Undone. Then we have the less popular streaming services, such as Sony Crackle, which boasts the Bryan Cranston-led Super Mansion, or Verve as the home of Gary and his Demons. A handful of these Verve shows also lived on YouTube, including Rooster Teeth's Ruby and Frederator classics like Bravest Warriors and Bee and Puppy Cat.
YouTube was also the incubation chamber for Olin Rogers' Final Space, which has since become a full-fledged series on TBS.
While we're on the cable network train of thought, we also got Bob's Burgers, Archer, Axe Cop, and the Lucas Brothers Moving Company under Fox and their FX banners.
Comedy Central would give us Ugly Americans and Brickleberry.
This list could go on, but out of the contenders we mentioned so far, it's time to boil down the list to 8 of the most popular and beloved series.
Who will take the wildcard and streaming bracket straight to the finals? It's time to find out with match number 1.
Starting match 1, we have Final Space. Final Space begins with Gary, a fairly inept space pilot working off his last few days in prison. He finds and befriends an adorable little planet-destroying alien who he names Mooncake, and together they work to save the galaxy from the evil Lord Commander.
With the Galra Empire in full power, the only thing powerful enough to stop them is the legendary defender of the universe, aka Voltron, a giant made up of 5 lion mechas and their paladins. Can the new group of paladins work together to save Earth from the Galra Empire? Spoiler, they sure as heck are gonna try. Match number 1, Final Space, Voltron. 2 very different shows, space epics though.
Space.
And with Final Space, this show started off kind of weak, but it grew into a space epic. Gary sucked at the beginning. It was like watching Jane from Firefly.
It was like watching like a really crappy Han Solo.
Right? But then it became so great, like the lore, the intrigue, the mystery of how everything's playing out, Gary's family. I love where this show is going.
And honestly, it broke my heart and made me so happy learning the origin of the name Mooncake. For naming the planet-destroying baby alien. It was so perfect, so sweet. This show developed its characters perfectly. It has so much heart once you actually get into it. And I love Final Space, man.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all still out on Kevin, but everything else on this show, fantastic.
Great.
And Voltron. I mean, I don't know how many times I've talked about how much I friggin' love this show. I love this so much. And this for me is a standout on Netflix. I have been such a friggin' evangelical about Voltron. I'm obsessed with everything. I think they took the source material and just amplified it and ran with it in such a fun way. I never shut up about this.
She doesn't.
I think this is one of the greatest properties that's come out in the last 10 years, and that's why I was so excited for us to put it in the bracket. They've expanded on characters and concepts in a really fun way, and all the different genre things they've done, right?
Dude, they did a D&D episode, and it was amazing. And like all of the things that they get to do as like little one-off episodes, because they can, because they're amazing.
Yeah.
I love that about Voltron.
Exactly. Those kind of filler episodes don't feel like filler. It's like a breath before you go into the rest of the journey, and it's so satisfying. That being said, did get a little let down by Shiro. Got let down by that storyline that kind of felt like it came out of left field, and then they tried to get rid of all of that. So really good story building, but kind of teetered out at the end a little bit, whereas Final Space seems like it's continuing to soar.
It's going upwards.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote Final Space, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Voltron.
I know you are.
Yeah. We stumbled at the end, but you know what? I'm still obsessed with it. Brett, what'd we do?
The match 1 winner with 58.3% of the votes is Voltron Legendary Defender.
Woo! Hell yeah!
Come here, you little mini lion bot.
In match number 2, we have She-Ra. Initially a member of the Horde, an evil galactic army, Adora stumbles upon a magic sword that transforms her into She-Ra, Princess of Power. She realizes how much suffering the Horde has caused their planet Etheria, and decides to rebuild the Princess Alliance and join the Resistance to fight her former allies.
And duking it out with them is Troll Hunters, Tales of Arcadia. James Lake Jr. was a regular teenage boy until he found a magic amulet and stumbled upon a secret realm of trolls and other magical creatures. He's tasked with a huge responsibility, protecting our world from the monsters that lurk in the shadows all around us. All right, match number 2. Again, 2 Netflix properties, but very, very different. She-Ra, lots of girl power.
Yeah.
Again, we're taking a old, like, 80s source and redoing it for this new era. And I think they do it really, really well, especially because
they do.
It's not just She-Ra, the Princess of Power, it's the Princesses of Power.
Yes.
And they deliver on that.
They sure as do, Car. And also, oh my god, can we just talk about Catra? She is an amazing co-lead, an amazing like antagonist for the series. I feel like you relate to Catra the most out of anybody in this show when you're watching it. She has the most character development. You watch her struggle through all of these different emotions and different feelings when it comes to the Horde and when it comes to her place, and now Adora's in the Resistance and how that makes her feel. It's just such an amazing show, especially for, you know, girl power purposes.
Exactly. I'm excited to see where else we go with this because we have so much lore to work with.
We sure do.
And speaking of lore, something that's an original property that is so great with its like magic and mythos and everything, Troll Hunters. I think this show is so incredible. It's a Guillermo del Toro show.
Yeah.
And Anton Yelchin's final project. They dedicate every single episode to him.
The baby.
Which is so great because he's at the heart of this show. But it's an incredible voice cast. Again, like the stakes are really high here. The myths are really great. It's still fun and exciting and fresh. And also it takes place in Arcadia, which is where I got married.
True.
So I enjoy the show for that little nugget too. But it's just beautifully done. And what I like about these properties that Guillermo del Toro's doing, because he has all these spin-offs that he's planned, right? It's 3 seasons and it's done. And I kind of like that of I know where my start, middle, and end are, because it's these great self-contained stories that he then weaves into the next project, like 3 Below connects to this.
Yeah.
And it's done masterfully.
I love the idea that there's like these monsters in the shadow hiding in suburbia where you least expect them, and that's where the battles. Oh man, no. So good.
It feels a lot like early 90s programming,
It does,
honestly.
yeah.
Like that's the kind of stuff we grew up on, and it's done in a really fun and exciting way.
Yeah, man.
The 2 of them though, you know what? I feel like there's a lot of She-Ra love out there, so I'm gonna go Troll Hunters. I really adored this show and I had so much fun getting to work on it.
I'm gonna stick with She-Ra then, because girl power is my favorite thing. Love me some Catra. I'm gonna go She-Ra.
And the winner of match 2, with 75% of the votes,
Oh dang.
is She-Ra and the Princesses of
Boom!
Power.
Yeah! She-Ra, She-Ra,
Oh look,
She-Ra.
we got a little kitty with a lion. Look at him. Look at there.
Being sweet.
One of these little cats.
Meow.
In match number 3, Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers is arguably one of the best family sitcoms out there. Bob Belcher and his wife Linda run a burger shop below their apartment along with their 3 wacky kids, Tina, Jean, and Louise. But even his bad luck can't stop the others from singing hilarious songs and getting up to mischievous schemes.
In this bracket, we have Archer. Ever wonder what it would be like if 007 had a borderline drinking problem, mommy issues, and a pet ocelot? Then Archer's the show for you. If you can't stop an international criminal with a scotch in your hand and a belly full of gummy bears, are you even a good secret agent?
Okay, so match 3, we have 2 amazing H. Jon Benjamin shows.
Yes.
And they are both so funny. This one's gonna be a hard one to choose between, but they have the most amazing crossover episode.
They have the best crossover episode. It's so good.
It's the best since X-Files and Cops, honestly.
100%.
It's so amazing. And okay, so for Archer, I love that they took the premise of like, what if 007 was like a lot worse? And what if, instead of liking his martinis shaken not stirred, he just drank a bottle of scotch and ate a bag of gummy bears for breakfast? What if instead of being an insane womanizer, he was an even worse, even more insane womanizer who was constantly taking Lana into the danger zone and also adopting pet ocelots? I love this show. I love that they finally took 007 and made it silly. The jokes are great.
Absolutely. They do a wonderful job with it. H. Jon Benjamin kills it on the show. The entire voice cast really does.
Oh, all of them are so amazing.
Everyone's so fun. I love this show, and it's so weird. It's just so weird, the situations they get into, and then the kind of different decades and genres that they explore on this show too later in the series, because they can. Like, fuck it, why don't we just do whatever we want? And I love that. I love that they start exploring all those different things. On the opposite end, though, you have something much more grounded in Bob's Burgers. It's a sitcom that just happens to be animated, basically. And it's adorable.
It's adorable. Again, H. Jon Benjamin knocks it out of the park as the lead in both shows, but in Bob's Burgers, I think that he really brings so much heart to that show. And that show is not only hilarious, has the best soundtrack, I'm sorry, out of any animated series, hands down. The songs on that show are wonderful. I relate to Linda so much because, as you know, I am constantly just making up songs. Usually about my dog. But yeah, I love that about the show, but I also love that it is actually like a learning tool, and it is an incredibly inclusive show. It teaches so many lessons about accepting people's sexual preferences, gender identities.
Bob and Marshmallow!
Ah, come on!
It's perfect.
So good.
I mean, so, all right, we're gonna lock in Bob's Burgers?
We're gonna lock in Bob's Burgers for sure. I love that show so much.
The match 3 winner with 72.5% of the votes is Bob's Burgers.
Yay!
Yes! Knew it! I knew it'd be Bob's Burgers.
Woo!
This show's great.
Louise.
Oh, Louise. Oh, geez, Louise. And in match number 4, Big Mouth. Nothing is more horrifying than the joys of puberty, and Nick, Andrew, and their fellow middle school classmates are right in the thick of it. Or, as Coach Steve would say, the thick and the warm of it. Big Mouth gives an inside look at the horrors of growing up, and with a cast of characters as full of variety as an actual 7th grade classroom, there's plenty of lessons about growing up to learn.
And up against Big Mouth is BoJack Horseman. Back in the 90s, he was in a very famous TV show. But now washed-up actor BoJack Horseman has to figure out how to deal with failed relationships, a failed career, family trauma, and all that whiskey he keeps pouring down his throat.
Okay, so this is going to be a real face-off. For me, this one is easy because y'all know how I feel about BoJack Horseman, so sorry. But this is a hard bracket because both of these shows are arguably 2 of the best shows on Netflix right now.
Yes.
Like, animated or not animated, they're 2 of the best shows on Netflix right now. I'll kick her off with Big Mouth, which I know is both of our favorite show in the world.
I love it.
I'm sorry. The voice cast is so incredibly talented. The message that the show gives out is something that I wish I had in middle school. I wish that I had Big Mouth in middle school because everything would have been so much less confusing.
Oof.
Like Bob's Burgers, I think this show deals really well with inclusivity, with teaching things that people might feel all alone and in the dark about, and this show normalizes everything, makes it seem a lot less weird, and makes you feel so much less alone.
Exactly. I mean, if I had this around in middle school or high school, living in Texas, man, a lot of people would have not used sandwich bags as condoms.
That's for sure.
Looking at you, TNT.
Oh man,
So-
a guy in my middle school used a Dorito bag as a condom one time. I told you that story.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
Horrifying.
Horrifying.
I love this show. I love quoting this show with you.
Constantly.
I think
it's
it's
the only thing we
wonderful. And it's a fun delight that also makes us ask a lot of questions too about sexuality and how we talk to kids or anyone really about sex. This is where we're going to defer though, because I know you don't enjoy BoJack Horseman.
I don't, but I objectively know it's a good show.
Yes.
So
You intellectually
tell
understand
me.
that it's a well-done
I
show.
get it. I get it.
But, you just personally aren't into it. I had a really hard time with BoJack when I first started getting assigned it for this channel.
Yeah.
And then this is a show that really, really grew on me. Not just because of the animal puns, but because this is a great story that I think transcends its medium. This is a show that, yeah, it's animated and it does happen to be about like weird hybrid humanoid animals and things. But at the heart of this, it is so much about narcissism and self-loathing and trying to find your way in the world and dealing with the slights that your family has caused you and how all of this irreparable damage that parents cause their children has to be dealt with and how you're still responsible for your own actions. If you compare it to live action shows too, the episode Free Churro is one of the best things I've ever seen of anything from TV. The best episodes have either been these long shot monologues or, the one where he's underwater and he doesn't speak basically at all through the entire episode. They really, really do well with this show, and it's beautiful and moving and makes you ask really hard questions about who deserves forgiveness. Like, is forgiveness something that even can be deserved, Like,
right, yeah.
Is that something you get to decide as a person? Do you have to play into cancel culture, or do you get to make your own decisions about how people are in your own personal life versus on a global scale for somebody who's a celebrity? It's so incredible and profound, and it's about a freaking horse. This show baffles me and I'm obsessed with it.
Listen, I can always find myself in any cartoon, and Pickles the pug is just a pug with big old tits, and that's just who I am. She's kind of dumb, me too. She says weird shit. She got tiggle bitties, and she a pug. I'm a C cup, and I'm a pug. I get Pickles on a fundamental level. And I still get BoJack, even though he reminds me of every ex-boyfriend actor I have ever had and I mean ever, and I mean if you're watching this, feel ashamed for yourself. That's why I don't like a whole show. But the reason I don't like it is because it's truly so realistic. And this character is a character that we all have met. He's the kind of person where like, we drink too much whiskey and we're both kind of fun. He drinks too much whiskey and it's a bad night.
He's detrimental to everyone.
To society and himself.
Yeah.
That being said, though, the fact that they can create those kinds of characters on this show and make it that meaningful, even though I don't like watching it because I find BoJack's just so unlikable, I still seriously appreciate this show for how intelligent it is, how well it speaks to cancel culture, to narcissism, it captures all of that perfectly. And if there's any show to do it, this is the best one.
Well, and I think that's what it kind of comes down to between these two shows. One is asking you to be more comfortable.
Yeah.
And one is blatantly trying to make you as uncomfortable as possible.
Exactly. That's 100% the best way to put it.
And for me, I'm gonna go on comfy alcoholism.
I'm gonna vote Big Mouth because that show has just like taught me so much. It has made me relive so many fond memories from middle school and so many not fond memories that now I can laugh about. I like any show that's gonna teach me lessons and make me giggle.
All right, Brett, whose opinion is correct?
By user vote, the winner of match 4 with 69,
9.
9?
it rounds up to 69.
69!
It's gonna be Big Mouth because it's sexual.
Nice!
It's BoJack.
It's BoJack! Oh! Hey, dang!
All right, Free Churro was very good.
It's a good episode.
I don't think it's better than all of Big Mouth, but I see why people voted for it.
Okay, so we've got 2 reboots up against each other. We got She-Ra and we've got Voltron. Where do you stand on this?
Oh man, I think that I'm gonna go Voltron just because like it is a show that I did watch the old one in the past and I love that so much. and I also just like, I've been reinvigorated for Voltron by your passion.
Yay.
And so it's something that I just really like now.
Oh man, that makes me so happy that my hype is contagious.
Your hype is contagious!
Because yeah, Voltron, I think it's so great. I miss it already. Oh my gosh. Steven Yeun, can we just talk about how good of a voice actor this guy is? Glenn from Walking Dead, incredible live action actor. But the stuff he's doing in voice acting, because he also was in Trollhunters, you guys. He's really good. He is incredible. He's got so many more cool things coming up. He's wonderful on it. The voice of Jake is in there as Lance.
Yeah.
You know, everyone on this show, I think, really just delivers powerhouse performances. And I feel like there's a lot of weight to what happens in the show, too. There's really, really high stakes. Not that She-Ra doesn't have that. You know, it's obviously some life and death situations there, too. But
yeah.
I don't know. I'm always going to go for big old robots and danger.
Big old robots.
Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah. Am I a bad feminist for not wanting She-Ra? I don't know.
Nah, you're fine. There's no such thing as a bad feminist unless you want all men to die.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a bad
Then
feminist.
you're just scary.
Then you're just scary and a serial killer.
Yeah.
And I don't want you around anyways.
No, that's fair.
The winner of semifinals 1 with 46.5% of the votes is She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Oh, dang.
Whoa! People stand She-Ra that hard?
I'm really
surprised. That's wild.
Yeah, because
I mean, I like She-Ra a lot, but like, damn, I didn't know that people would choose that over Voltron.
well, I guess we have kind of had the reverse too. She-Ra started and there was so much backlash about
Right.
like, why is
Yeah,
she
yeah,
wearing
yeah.
shorts and I don't like this show.
that was honestly what I thought people would
Yeah.
have voted against, because there were
Exactly.
so many bad comments about
But like we
She-Ra.
brought up though, Voltron did kind of fumble the ending. So it makes sense. She was still going strong and getting better with time. Voltron did take a dip towards the end there. So
That's true.
you know what? I respect you, Internet.
Semifinals 2. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Yeah. All right, man, I'm gonna go Bob's Burgers on this one all the way, if that wasn't clear. I just like shows that make me feel better and feel good, and Bob's Burgers makes me feel so good. I love the representation of a woman who sings loudly in public about nothing all the time.
Yeah.
I love all of the characters. Tina loves butts. Jean is a weirdo who is perfect. Louise might be a murderer. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's incredible. If she doesn't grow up to work for like the CIA or some weird international spy ring, I will be so surprised. Every character on that show is so lovable. I love everything about Bob's Burgers. Teaches great lessons. I'm gonna vote Bob.
I love Bob's Burgers. I love Louise. I feel very, very emotionally and spiritually connected to her.
Same.
Because you know how I used to manipulate my sibling.
Oh yeah.
Where I would just be like, yeah, Santa won't give you gifts if you don't confess, like at Catholic Church, all of the things you've done each year. And then I'd hoard it over him for the entire year. Because I'm a monster.
Yeah.
And so I relate with these characters. I love the ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. All of the Thanksgiving episodes are
All
priceless.
the Halloween episodes are the best Halloween episodes of any show.
Last
I've ever
Gingerbread
seen.
House on the left. Perfect Christmas episode.
So good.
That is one of
Last
the
Gingerbread House. So
best.
good.
Oh.
So good. So good.
That all being said, and I've said in the other brackets too, I always want to vote for the happy show or the show that makes me feel good. Man, I have to go against all of that for BoJack because this show is so important. It really, really is. It's so well done. And look, the way this show talks about addiction in particular is something that just really, really resonates with me. And oh man, is it hard to watch sometimes, but it is so cathartic to watch this show. Again, with friggin' barnyard animals. But I watch it and it's, oh my God.
Pugs with tits.
Yeah,
You know?
you watch it and it's this was like what it was like going through this situation with my family. I do relate to this character.
Right.
I do understand how I can love someone and not like someone. I can be so upset with their actions but still understand that they're sick. And the show does this really beautiful job about portraying broken people.
Yeah.
And I really think that's important to see, and I think it's done
It
really
sure
well.
is.
They've corrected all of their missteps with like cultural appropriation and wrong voice casting and stuff like that. They are so aware of the missteps they've done. BoJack all the way.
Do it, man.
The winner of semifinals round 2 with 45.7% of the total votes is BoJack Horseman.
Yeah! BoJack, he's a horseman. He's not a pug man. He's not a snug man. He's just a horseman. Yeah, of course. gonna do it and do it and do it till he dies. She-Ra versus BoJack.
Look at us down to humanoid animals.
Ah, man, look at us go.
Tail as old as time.
Song
humanoids
as old
facing
as
off.
horse.
In the end, the furries always win.
Internet, look at you.
Look at
living
you
up to
go.
expectations. I'm obviously gonna go for BoJack. I've been shouting about it this whole time. BoJack is the one.
BoJack 2, even though it's not my favorite show, I still think that it is a lot better than She-Ra because...
Really?
Yeah, well, I don't like it, but I still know how important it is.
Okay, well that's interesting though, because you enjoy She-Ra and you have fun watching it.
Yeah.
But you still think BoJack's more important.
Yeah.
So like, explain that to me.
All the sad shit that you were talking about, man. I mean, I really do like the fact that it is a show that does portray the darker side of being a human being. I live that every day. But that doesn't mean that it's not important for other people to see that. It makes other people, like, more okay with dealing with me. So, you know, if BoJack can help people be my friend, I'm Coach Steve and I just want to be your friend, so... No, man, if this show really does help people this much, I think that it's incredibly important. I can't say the same thing about She-Ra.
No.
So,
That's
BoJack.
fair. And we should note too, BoJack did an excellent job writing into their own show, hey, characters shouldn't be able to excuse you of your shitty behavior.
Yup.
They wrote in a whole monologue about, nope, I don't want this character to justify your bullshit.
I don't want this to turn into Rick and Morty.
So well done, guys. All right, both of us for BoJack.
BoJack,
Color me
go,
surprised.
go,
Oh my goodness.
Go.
And the winner of this bracket, with 34.3% of the votes, is BoJack Horseman.
Okay, so streaming was pretty divided.
Oh, streaming was really, it was a majority winner. It had more than double the second place.
Okay.
But all of these shows had so much support that it
Yeah.
really split the pie.
Well, and I think that's something we should talk about too, is that the streaming options, there's so many things to choose from. Honestly,
yeah.
I would have loved to get rid of our Nickelodeon bracket.
Dude, that would have been great. Nickelodeon, to me, has not been that great in this
No.
past decade, and that comes from, like, the biggest 90s and early aughts Nickelodeon fan.
Yeah.
Like, I used to love Nickelodeon. That was my, like, main network. You were a Disney kid. Bretters was a Cartoon Network guy. I was Nickelodeon all the way. I was Slime Time Live, baby. And it just didn't do it for me this time. And so I kind of wish that we had gotten to just do like 2 streaming brackets and just kicked Nickelodeon right off of the board.
Yeah. Listen up, guys. You have 2 days to cast your votes for the finals, all right? If you want your favorite cartoon to win, you gotta vote. So make sure you go ahead and do that.
Remember the alligator in Peter Pan and he had like an alarm clock inside him and it was like tick, tick, tick? That's you. 2 days you have to vote for the best cartoon of the decade. And look, I don't want you coming to us crying because you forgot to vote and all of a sudden something dumb wins, okay? So you gotta vote for the best ones. You gotta come back. We gotta hit it strong for the finals. I'm so excited to see who wins.
I'm very excited. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and that bell. I'm Chris Carr.
I'm Wendy Van Lanningham, and we have been Nerdwire, and this has been fun!
We'll catch you next time, guys.
Bye!